When someone has an unusual experience with an animal or had repeated sightings, whether the animal appeared in physical or symbolic form, their first priority would be to understand what that visitation meant and what possible message the spirit world was trying to convey to them through the essence of that particular animal. A lot of people wonder and want to understand why a particular totem or power animal was with them and what that said about their personality and character, or what the message is that they feel the animal is giving to them at that specific time. People also wonder which animal spirit helpers to call on for a particular purpose, such as whom to call on, to increase self-confidence, or to interpret dreams. I trust that you will find the animal spirit guides represented on this channel through dozens of short videos for each individual animal to help you on your spiritual path. I know that these incredible beings have guided, taught, and helped heal me in ways far too many times to count. In fact, I've had a lot of help from them throughout my life. Our natural connection to animals and spirit guides. It's amazing how animals permeate our consciousness and are with us all the time, either in their physical form, in spirit, or in some way that bring their essence about all the same. These intimate connections we have with the animal kingdom shows itself in a variety of ways. Even in congested urban settings, the birds in the trees sing away, the pigeons gather around the man on the park bench feeding them, and the squirrels scamper about doing squirrel business. Taking a walk in the forest, we might see rabbits darting through the bush, a quick glimpse of a deer before it charges away, or wild turkeys scratching for grubs. Dogs, cats, goldfish, and hamsters are some of the more common domesticated animals that compel us to remember this relationship. Then there are zoos and wild animal parks that give us a safe and contained glimpse of the wildness that abounds in nature. Go into any number of stores, and you'll see animal icons depicted in pictures, jewelry, and fabric. Many sports teams are named after animals, such as the Philadelphia Eagles or Sydney Roosters, as well as various organizations such as the Lions Club or the Loyal Order of Moose. Fairy tales are rampant with animals, ones that communicate readily with each other and with the humans in the stories. In our everyday language, animal metaphors abound. The stock market is either a bull or bear market. Someone is busy as a beaver, or a person is trying to weasel his or her way out of things. You may be trying to outfox someone, but because your idea sounds fishy, others probably think you're just hosing around and trying to get their goat. So once they find you out, you'll have to eat crow. Okay, enough examples. You get the picture. We're so intertwined with our animal brothers and sisters that most of the time we remain unaware of their presence in our lives and the bountiful gifts they give us. Not only are animals around us in all these ways and more, but also we are animals ourselves, the humankind. We only need to pause for a few moments and feel our heart beating. Notice our breathing and our movements, and consider that we eat, sleep, eliminate, and procreate in the same basic manner as nearly all other animal beings. We breathe the same air and live together on the same planet, whether on land, in the air, or in the water. Like every other being, we eventually die, the substance of our bodies returning to the earth as our spirit goes to the spirit world. The spirit world and spirit guides. The spirit world is another dimension that exists alongside our material reality and is populated with non-physical beings, or spirits. It's not some place up in the sky or removed from us, but is present and accessible at all times, requiring only the willingness, intention, and openness to make contact with those beings that reside there. Our awareness and consciousness are the vehicles that allow us to accomplish this. In this alternate, non-physical reality called the spirit world, you'll find ancestors, archangels, ascended spiritual masters, religious figures, deceased loved ones, and for our purpose, spirit animals or totems. These beings are extensions of God, Great Spirit, Source, or whatever name you give to all that is, just as those of us and everything else in the material world are. What we call matter is denser and more tangible to our usual senses, whereas accessing this other dimension requires greater receptivity, heightened awareness, and a consciousness that allows for the existence of this aspect of being. The term spirit guide, also known as a helping spirit or guardian spirit, is a term for any of these spiritual beings that help us in a life-positive way. We can call on them for guidance, protection, healing, encouragement, and inspiration. Some have been with us since childhood, while others have appeared at various periods in our life, perhaps to help us through a difficult transition or even to warn us about something. We may see them, hear them, feel them, or just know they're with us, and we can have any number of spirit guides throughout our life, whether we're aware of them or not. They want to help us have a more peaceful, harmonious, and happier life, yet will not interfere with our free will. They are happy to serve and willingly do so whenever called. Animals as spirit guides. Those spirits that are in animal form that teach us, guide us, empower us, and help us heal are called animal spirit guides, or spirit animals. In shamanic and indigenous cultures, they may be called totem animals or power animals. Often these terms are used interchangeably, although there are subtle differences in meaning. The term totem animal has two meanings. First, a totem animal is typically one that is shared by a family, clan, or group. In many indigenous cultures, often the family you were born into will have a totem animal in common. In modern societies, various groups also have communal totems, such as sports teams or clubs that identify with a totem animal. A second meaning of totem animal is a representational object of a particular animal. We often give our children totem animals, such as teddy bears or bunny rabbits, to give them comfort. The term power animal has its origins in shamanism. This is a specialized animal spirit guide that shamans or shamanic practitioners acquire early in their initiation into their practice. Their power animal travels with them whenever they go on a shamanic journey, which is an altered state of awareness in which the practitioner sends their soul or consciousness into non-ordinary reality, a shamanic term for the spirit world, to receive teachings, guidance, and healings. You can, however, have a relationship with a power animal even if you're not a shaman or shamanic practitioner. They may come to you in reality, meditation, visions, dreams, or on a spiritual journey. It's a highly personal and specialized relationship with an animal spirit guide, one in which the personality and characteristics of the particular power animal that you've attracted to you is typically reflective of your own personality and characteristics. To experience the tremendous value of working with animal spirit guides, you don't need to be a shaman or to be associated with an indigenous culture. For most purposes, you don't even need to be concerned as to whether an animal spirit guide is a totem or power animal. Instead, consider these wonderful beings as spiritual allies that want to reach out to each and every one of us who are open to their guidance and, when called with sincere intent, will respond. One of the great advantages of working with animal spirit guides is that the actual animal is physically and symbolically present in so many ways throughout every society and culture on Earth. Because of their abundant representations in third-dimensional reality, they're continually in our consciousness. Depending on how and in what way they show up in the material world, either in the flesh or symbolically, their appearance may be as a representative of the spirit of that animal. When an animal shows up in an uncommon way or repetitively, that animal isn't just the single animal, but is representing the spirit of the entire species. For example, the hummingbird that flits about and then hovers for several seconds directly in front of you isn't just a hummingbird, but is carrying with her the essence of all hummingbirds, and is therefore hummingbird with a capital H. That's also why when we speak of an animal spirit guide, we leave out the or an as a way of recognizing and honoring that spirit animal. Not only do these spirit animals help us in many ways, but another positive effect is that you'll deepen your appreciation for the magic and mystery of all animals, whether they're of the air, water, or land. Every being on this beautiful and majestic planet has its place in the web of life. And as you develop your consciousness and awareness of the unique quality of animal spirit guides, you'll enhance your relationships with all of our animal brothers and sisters. Messages from animal spirit guides. When an animal or a symbol of that animal shows up to you in an unusual way or repeatedly, at least 3 times in a short period of time, it's most definitely trying to convey a message from the spirit world to you. The eagle visited me around the holidays. He showed up 3 times in a short period, and in one of those visits performed the very unusual act of flying to my bedroom window, just sitting right there locking eyes with me for what could have been about 5 minutes, before opening up his wings and pushing himself back up into the air and flying off. It was evident that this was a strong message meant for me. In another instance, my friend Beth described how, after her father's death, she went to a spot on the beach located in front of her dad's favorite restaurant, and a single dolphin was frolicking in the water, unusually close to the shore. As she walked on the beach, the dolphin followed her for several meters, then swam farther out to sea and joined his pod. This was a very reassuring message from Dolphin to Beth that her father was just fine in the spirit world. My friend Tim and his wife Sam provide another illustration. Less than a year ago, they were preparing a major move to a new city, and Tim was feeling extremely anxious about it, to the point of losing sleep and dropping weight. One night, a raccoon showed up in their backyard. He looked up the message from Raccoon and discovered that it was about resourcefulness. At that point, Tim realized that he did in fact have all the necessary resources, both internal and external, for this move. It relaxed him a great deal, and he and his wife are now living very successfully in their new home in a new city. I've had the good fortune to have a number of personal experiences like these, and have also heard a number of stories from others with respect to these miraculous interventions on the part of an animal spirit guide, either represented and embodied by the physical animal or a symbol of that animal. An example of a repetitive symbolic representation would be when you have a vivid and colorful dream about a bear, go to the market the next day and overhear two strangers in a conversation talking about bears, and that evening turn on the television and there just happens to be a program about grizzly bears. An experience like this counts just as much as 3 literal sightings, and since most of us, who will never actually encounter live bears or come close to a number of wild animals, the spirit of that animal has to reach us in some other way to get a message across. How you get messages from spirit guides. There are 4 major ways in which you can get messages from the spirit world: visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and cognitive. As your receptivity to the spiritual dimension opens and develops, you'll discover that one of these pathways is the strongest and feels the most natural, with a secondary one that works fairly well. The more you practice and the more you attune to the spiritual dimension, you'll find that you can receive input through the other channels as well. What's required is that you hold a clear intention to receive these messages and simply remain receptive, and they will come to you, often in unexpected and surprising ways. Here is a detailed description of the 4 ways. Number 1. Visual. When you see that dolphin a few yards from shore, or a crow that lands a couple of feet away from you, and you know these are unusual visitations and meant for you, this is the animal spirit coming through a visual channel. Clairvoyance is another way, where you see spirit animals that are in the non-physical realm, in your mind's eye or as an apparition, such as having a vision of a bear or a mythological animal like a dragon, or having a vivid dream where a wolf makes an appearance. Number 2. Auditory. You hear the voice of an animal spirit guide in your mind giving you some advice, or a sound in the environment triggers a thought about an animal spirit guide. Another means is for you to overhear a conversation or listen to someone talking and intuitively know that what is being said is a message from a spirit animal. Hearing spirits' communication is called clairaudience. Messages coming in this way are typically short and to the point, without excess verbiage. Number 3. Kinesthetic. This is when you feel or sense something, sometimes called a gut feeling and often termed intuition. You feel or sense the presence of the ethereal form of one of your more common animal spirit guides or your power animal, and get a sense of what they're trying to communicate to you. This is also called clairsentience. Number 4. Cognitive. This is a knowing through our thought processes, also called inspiration or insight. If your primary mode of input is through this pathway, your animal spirit guide is communicating with you by generating a thought or thought pattern, also called claircognizance. Often someone doesn't exactly know how they know, and if asked, will tell you that they just somehow know. I encourage you to take a look at the animal spirit message short videos on this channel, Astral Bee, for meanings of the spirit animals' communication with you. These remarkable beings want to help us and teach us, and will do so in various ways. There are a few different ways to use the Animal Spirit Shorts videos. The first way is when you've had a sighting of an animal and you suspect that it's trying to give you a message. When this happens, look for or find particular animal in the playlist folder named Animal Spirit Guides and Messages. Then watch the video to reveal your animal message. As you watch and listen, pay attention to what jumps out at you or what you resonate with. You may find further information from additional sections within the short video about when to call upon that particular animal. It could be helpful in discerning the message that the particular animal spirit guide is trying to convey to you. Calling on an animal spirit guide requires only a sincere intention and openness to receiving their help and guidance. There's a wealth of information about the animal kingdom, and the more you work with spirit animals, the more useful it is to research and get additional information to help you and guide you in your everyday life. As you become more acquainted with the traits and characteristics of many commonly known animals, you become that much more intimately involved with them, both in your physical reality and as spirit helpers. Thank you for watching.